Hey guys, and welcome to A Bit Tactical. Today, we're going to be covering the Phobos Strike Team. It's going to be a full guide for this video, which means I'm not going to be going in as much depth as I like to. However, do not worry, those videos will still be coming for this team. I just thought it would be nice to have one full read through of all the rules, make sure you guys understand the mechanics so you can just fall back to this video. And then if you have any specific questions or even you want specific strategies, you can obviously watch the videos that I did, just like the Kazakin, where I break down everything. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So let's start with the faction abilities, which are split into three categories for your three different types of operatives: your infiltrators, your incursors, and your reavers. Every Phobos Marine, however, also benefits from Astartes, which allows you to either shoot twice or fight twice during a single activation. Reavers, however, have Terror, which makes it so that if you are within 3 inches of an enemy model, all mission actions or pickup marker actions cost an additional AP. So if it originally cost 1 AP, it's now going to cost 2. Also, for the purposes of controlling an objective marker or just determining control, always count your enemies as 1 less AP. So a 2 AP model would only count as 1 AP, and a 3 AP model would only count as 2 AP. Again, as long as they're within 3 inches. However, this only applies in regards to determining control. It does not actually affect the APL of your enemy target. Next up is your Omni Scrambler ability, which very simply count how many infiltrator models you have on the board. Choose an enemy model that is within 6 inches of your Vox Breaker or is simply visible to any of your operatives. That model is now delayed by however many infiltrators you have. So if you have 3 infiltrators, that model is delayed by 3 enemy activations, not your activations, not your activations combined with your enemy's activations, simply your enemy's activations. They have to activate 3 models before that one model can go. Your incursors get a multi-spectrum array, which just simply means when they have a shooting attack, they ignore obscuring. Very helpful, very cool. Let's quickly move on to equipment, starting with Purity Seals. Once per turning point, if you roll 2 or more fails during a shooting attack, you can discard one of them and retain another as a normal hit. Very good. Next is additional utility grenades, which is simply, instead of taking the normal utility grenades and getting 2, you now get 4. You also have combat blades, which changes your attack. So basically, it just changes your attacks from 4 to 5. It doesn't change any other stat. Next up is special issue ammunition, which allows you to choose one model during a shooting attack. For the rest of the turning point, that model will get piercing 1 on all of their bolt weaponry. Next up, let's go into the strategy ploys, starting out with guerrilla warfare. For 1 AP, you can now change your engage order to conceal. Really, you can just change your order from anything to anything, but usually that's how you're going to do it. Next is And They Shall Know No Fear, which just means that you don't suffer anything from being injured, including your weapon stats. You also have Deadly Shots, which is if somebody is not in cover or you have not moved at all during that turning point, when you have your shooting attack, you get the balanced special weapon rule. Take note that this also means that after you do this, or after you shoot, you can in fact move or do whatever you want. Then we have Lethal Assault, which gives you balance anytime you're fighting, or balanced and lethal 5+ if you have used the charge action during this activation. Moving on to your firefight ploys with Patient Ambush, which allows you to skip an activation. You do not lose any activations, you just skip one. Then you have Critical Shot, which if you resolve a critical success with a bolt weapon, you can do an additional D3 damage. Then you have Transhuman Physiology, which in the roll of defense step, if you retain a normal hit, you can change that to a critical save. Now, Stealth Assault is really interesting. Notice how it's worded here. You can start from concealment, change to engage, charge somebody. When you resolve your first attack, You can then decide to use this firefight ploy and immediately resolve another attack. That's very important because instead of having to use it first and then potentially waste it on a really bad roll, you can get your roll and then you can determine afterwards if you can use stealth assault or if you want to use stealth assault if you have done all of the previous steps. Next up, I'm going to cover the 3 types of sergeants and the 3 types of warriors, starting off with the sergeants. All 3 sergeants have the exact same stats: 3 APL, 7-inch movement, 3 up save, 13 wounds. They also all 3 have tactical advantage, which either allows you to re-roll your initiative dice and use a firefight ploy for 0 CP so long as it's for this operative, or patient ambush so long as your operative is ready and not within engagement range of an enemy. The differences with the sergeants come with the weaponry choices. So with the Reaver Sergeant, you get access to a bolt carbine combined with fist, which the bolt carbine is 4 attacks, hits on 3s, 3-4, accurate 1. Fist is 4 attacks, hits on 3s, 3-4. Or a special issue bolt pistol with a combat knife, which is 4 attacks, hits on 3s, 3-4, range 8, piercing 1, and the combat knife is 5 attacks, hits on 3s, 4-5. You also have access to your graph shoot and grapnel launcher because you're a Reaver. So whenever this operative is climbing, treat the vertical distance as 2, no matter how far up you go, and you can just ignore any vertical distance as long as you're dropping. The Incursor Sergeant has access to the Oculus Bolt Carbine, which is 4 attacks, hits on 3s, 3-4 damage, and has a Saturate special weapon rule, and Fist, 4 attacks, hits on 3s, 3-4 damage. The Infiltrator Sergeant has access to a Marksman Bolt Carbine, which hits on 4s, 3s, 3-4, lethal 5, and Fist, 4, hits on 3s, 3-4. All of the warriors have the exact same stats as their sergeants, except they have 12 wounds instead of 13 wounds, and they have Vanguard, which is once per turning point, they can perform a mission action for 1 less AP. Essentially, for the most part, 0 AP. Let's move on to the specialists, which only involve the infiltrators and the incursors. They have the regular Phobos Strike Team stats. The only difference is that infiltrators get lethal 5, incursors get saturate. Let's start with the Helix Adept. He has the medic ability, which the first time a friendly operative dies within 3 inches of you, so long as they are not within engagement range of an enemy, and your Helix Adept is not within engagement range of an enemy, they immediately get revived. You don't get to choose who it happens to. You can choose whether to revive them or not, but they have to be the first person to die within 3 inches of you. They get D3 wounds. They can also perform a free dash so long as that free dash ends within control range of the medic. They lose an APL. Your medic loses an APL. And they cannot be healed this turning point. Also take note, technically, this happens on your enemy's activation. So it'll typically be right after their shooting attack, right after they kill them. Speaking of healing, you can select any operative for 1 APL, and they can recover D3 plus 3 wounds. Moving on to the Infiltrator Commsman, he has 2 special abilities: Strategic Oversight, which allows you to roll a D6. On a 4+, you gain 1 additional CP. Obviously, this guy has to be in the kill zone, and he has to not be within control range of an enemy operative. And then Comms Array, during another friendly Phobos Strike Team operative's activation or counteraction, you can use this ability, and if he's in the kill zone, you can change your strategy ploy for free. So if you activated a strategy ploy, you can change it for free for whatever reason. The Infiltrator Saboteur is really interesting. It gets a new weapon called Remote Detonator, and this is combined with its plant explosives. So the plant explosives is a pickup marker action, and you place a mine down or a bomb down. You then can perform a free dash immediately. Then, on your next turn, because this is a dash only, you can then detonate it It's 4 attacks, hits on 2s, 5, 6, and it's on anybody within 2 inches of the explosive marker. Heavy, dash only, limited 1, piercing 1, silent. Also, enemy operatives cannot be obscured, and it cannot be uncovered when you do this. Anyone within a 2-inch radius is going to suffer these attacks, and once you're done, you just remove the marker. Very good. Very, very deadly. And now we have the Infiltrator Veteran. Welcome to the Disappointing Child Club. He's got a custom bolt carbine, which lets you choose 2 of these special weapon rules. Balance, lethal 5, piercing crits 1, rending, and saturate. Do note that his thing says custom bolt carbine. So unless your strategy ploys or your firefight ploys specifically say custom bolt carbine, he cannot benefit from those ploys, unless they only say if this includes the bolt characteristic. Then it does also include him. But if it says like marksman or Oculus or whatever, and it doesn't say custom, he cannot be included in that. Then you have the Vox Breaker, which has 2 special abilities. He has Vox Break, which whenever an enemy operative is within 6 inches of this operative, they can't re-roll any of their attacks or defense dice. It's alright. And an Auspex Scan, which is within an 8-inch bubble. You or any operative within an 8-inch bubble cannot be obscured. Any enemy operative. And if you have incursors on your team, those incursors now gain the Seek Light special weapon rule if they are shooting somebody within this 8-inch bubble. Really good. Just for you guys know, Seek Light means that so long as they're in light terrain, they're taking cover from light terrain, they cannot be concealed, or there can be a valid target for a shooting attack, even if they are concealed. Then we have the Incursor Marksman, who has the Stalker Marksman Bolt Carbine. For attacks, hits on 2s, 3-4 damage, lethal 5, and piercing 1. Really good. One of your best weapons. He has the special ability Track Target, which means he can perform the guard action, which basically means that you can perform a free shoot or fight action during an interruption. But you have to be in your engage order to do this. So, yeah. And also, if you need more on what guard is, it changes your hit from a 2 to a 3. So you hit on 3s instead of 2s. Yeah. And last, but certainly not least, is the Incursor Mine Layer. He can lay down his mine within an inch of him. It's got a 1-inch diameter. Well, basically its control range with its 1 inch, right? As soon as somebody gets in within this inch, though, you subtract 1 from their APL to the end of their next activation. Also, you do 2d3 plus 3 damage on them, so not bad. And you don't set it off. However, enemy and friendly operatives can set this thing off, but you yourself, you don't set it off. Pretty decent, pretty okay. Okay, great. We're done with the read the rules, whatever. Now you have someone who has played Phobos, tell you a little bit about that. However, now let's actually move on to some tips, some tricks, starting out with some combos that I think you should really consider running. Number 1 being obviously Stealth Assault with your Reavers. Your Reavers have 4 or 5 damage profile. That means if you have a crit and you have a hit and you have Stealth Assaults on, you can do a crit and then a hit, killing almost every team that is not any model that is not within an elite team. You kill them immediately. It's 9 wounds. I think the scouts have 10 wounds maybe. But other than them, you automatically kill anybody as soon as you activate this if you're going into a horde team. So keep that in mind. Another combination that I think is really, really good is the Vox Breaker and the Incursor Marksman. This is so good because of that seek light, that 8-inch bubble with the seek light for your incursor. And you don't even have to be, your incursor doesn't have to be within that 8-inch bubble. So he could be across the map. So long as he has line of sight to somebody, he can shoot them. Really effective. I think you'd be surprised how much people are scared of that 8-inch bubble. Make sure you tell them, hey, I activated this within this 8-inch bubble. Measure it out for them and tell them, hey, you enter here, my incursor marksman has that seek light ability on you. They can shoot you even though you're concealed. And also, and this is so important, especially with the Phobos team, remember your abilities. Remember you have Omni Scrambler, okay? You can, stopping somebody's activations in turning point 2 or 3 is so crucial. It's so helpful, right? If you know for a fact somebody's going to charge you, or somebody's going to fight you, or somebody's going to shoot you, say, hey, this model, they can activate for 3 activations. And remember, it's enemy activations, not your activations, not a combination of your 2 activations. Enemy activations. 3 of their guys have to go before that guy that you stop from going can go. It's so crucial. It's so helpful. Same thing with terror. Same thing with ignoring, obscuring. All these things, you have to keep them in mind always. Use your abilities. They're really helpful whenever you can. And another thing to remember. Number 1, I think that your best ploy, especially against horde teams, or not ploy, your best tack up against horde teams is going to be confirmed kill. Very easy to get. Very nice to get. That or recover items. These are really good. Recover items, basically, you're just going to plant 3 different... your opponent's going to plant 2. You're going to plant 1. 1 on the center line, 1 on your side, 1 on the enemy side. And you just go pick them up, right? With Vanguard, you can just pick them up for free, basically. Once per turning point. Very good, I think. I like it. Not too hard to get. Same thing with confirmed kill. You kill somebody, they drop a marker. You make sure you're in control range by the end of the turning point. You get it. You get 2 VP. Or you get 1 VP, you get 2 VP if it's an elite team. Either are really good for, I think, both teams. Both elite and horde teams. But yeah. On to, I think, a good beginner team comp is a Reaver Sergeant, because I think the Reaver Sergeant is the best Sergeant. A Reaver. A Voxbreaker with the Marksman. And here's when you can go a little bit, however you want to do it, right? You can do a Helix Adept and a Veteran if you want a little bit of healing and a little bit of more punchiness. But really, from there, it's really a team dependent. Personally, what I think I'm going to start going with now is I'm going to start bringing the Commsman so that I can get that extra CP and I can start doing more with it. And either another Reaver or the Incursor Mine Layer so I can take advantage of that Seek Light with more than just the Marksman. That's my personal suggestions on the team comp. Let me know what you try, and let me know if this helped you at all. Obviously, I'm still going to do what I did with the Kazakin. I'm going to go in depth with all of these, all the data cards, all of everything I'm going to go in depth with. Don't worry about that. I am not abandoning the Phobos team. Okay? Alright. That should be it for this video. If you like the video, like the video. Say something in the comments. And share and all that stuff. Alright. Bye.